Et bonsoir à tous. Du coup, on se retrouve pour continuer le petit jeu Stanley Parable. Donc, je vais lancer ça, hop, car j'ai pas lancé. Car peut-être qu'il y a des trucs au début quand on lance le jeu encore. Je sais pas si on a tout vu. Donc, autant voir ça ensemble. Hop, j'espère que je vais bien avoir la manette. Alors, donc je me suis renseigné pour l'endroit avec tous les boutons et tout, là où ça explose. Apparemment, il n'y a rien. Apparemment, tous les boutons ne servent à rien, donc un peu triste. J'ai peut-être un peu cherché pour rien. Donc, il n'y a plus rien. On a tout vu, apparemment. Ok. Bon bah let's go hein. Reprenons là où on en était. Donc on a encore quelques trucs à voir du jeu de base. Donc quelques chemins qu'on n'a pas fait. Puis après on pourra vraiment s'attaquer à ce que rajoute la suite de Ultra 2. Ça on connaît. Alors, let's go. On a bien du coup cette nouvelle zone. Donc ouais, il nous demande toujours de venir là-bas. Pas tout de suite. Je me casse. Hop. Tuc. Toujours pas les trucs qui sont revenus là. Le petit temps de chargement qu'on peut augmenter petit à petit. On dirait pas. Je pense que ce qu'on va faire, c'est qu'on va aller dans l'escalier, on va redescendre en bas. Hop. Et c'est vrai, du coup, ça nous met directement au deuxième écran. C'est peut-être pour ça que ça marche pas. Ah, j'ai cru que c'était ça, mais non. Il y en a un autre. J'aime- Hop. Poké clicker en fond qui fait ces trucs. Si vous entendez des bruits, c'est qu'il y a des trucs intéressants. Faites pas attention. Addiction au jeu. L'enfer. Du coup, allons aux escaliers. Du coup, je sais pas si il y a beaucoup de trucs ensuite. Si ça se trouve, c'est déjà le dernier stream sur le jeu, donc on verra. Touc. Let's go.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley
J'ai cru
decided
qu'il
to
avait
go
changé de
up to
place de
his
tableau.
boss's office,
Bizarre.
hoping he might find an answer there.
Alors, cette fois on va descendre.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Là c'est fermé. Qu'est-ce qu'on a par là? Oh, il y a un petit papier. Waouh. Ok.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
Oh, cheval!
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Oh, où suis-je?
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can
Ça
anyone
part en
hear my
couille!
voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything
La
went
voiture.
black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Oh. Bon bah voilà. On a fait la fin des escaliers apparemment. Bah du coup, on va bientôt pouvoir prendre ce petit truc. Non.
Stanley, come over here. Oh, you don't want to see
Laisse-moi, il
the
me reste
cool
un chemin.
surprise I made for you? Well, fine. You're a dork anyway, so who cares?
Hop! C'est revenu. C'est revenu. Je sais plus pourquoi on l'avait perdu, ce qui m'a amené à perdre l'avancement.
When Stanley came to a set
Allez,
of two
là-bas.
open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Yes, truly a room worth admiring, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Alors. Maintenant, il nous reste ici.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Hmm. Qu'est-ce qu'on a là? C'est parti, on descend! Let's go.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left.
À gauche. Qu'est-ce qu'il y a là? On peut pas ouvrir. Ah ouais, d'accord. Vraiment, on n'a pas le choix. Vraiment, on n'a pas le choix. Bon bah,
Oh,
go!
no.
Ah!
No, it's to the right, my mistake.
Euh... D'accord. Il va changer.
No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Oula. On peut vraiment pas ouvrir les portes? Non? Bon. Question qu'il y a... Ah non, il y a qu'un chemin. Il y a un gros camion. Attends, mais du coup... On est d'accord que ce truc, il mène à rien, du coup. Bah, super. Oh! On connaît ici.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
Oh!
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Attendez, c'est bizarre, on a plus la pièce. C'est louche. Et on n'a pas une pute. Et il n'y a pas le new content là.
When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Or did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Ouah, la pleine porte! Oh. Autant on peut pas y aller. Waouh. Non, ça mène au même endroit. Ah, d'accord. Ah, d'accord. Qu'est-ce qu'on a là? What? Oh là là. Il y a un
I'll
labyrinthe.
say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Ah. Ok. Nous reviens là.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Qu'est-ce qui se passe? Ah! Il y a, comme qui dirait, plus de porte.
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Ok. Bon bah, retournons au bureau alors. Est-ce qu'il y a une porte qui va s'ouvrir, genre? Non, là on peut pas interagir. Là non plus.
Aha!
Oh!
I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes.
Voilà, on tourne en rond là. On a déjà vu une pièce similaire à un moment.
No, wait.
Oh.
Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Au secours, on fait que de tourner en rond. Oh. C'est pas rassurant par là.
Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time, I have to restart.
D'accord! Ah, moi j'aimais bien, on avait gagné. Oh!
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Ok. Vas-y, fais M d'éteindre les ordi. Oh! Bah! Attends, quoi? Moi, là, rien quoi.
No, I'm down. We're leaving it up to the line from now on.
Ok, on suit la ligne. Putain, donc on rentre vraiment ici? Nice. Oh! Ça se fait un petit solitaire ici ou quoi là? Let's go. Bon bah, suivons la ligne. Hein. Oh.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay. Now, if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office, in fact, the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there.
What?
Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Oh oui, de la musique. Du coup, c'est quoi ça? What? part en couille. Waouh. Mais c'est quoi ce bordel? Oh là là. What? What? Attends. Mais... Oh! Bah... Ok.
Wait, cut the music, go back and look at that fern.
La fougère.
Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Ok. Le souvenir de la fougère, apparemment.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No, no, no. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Ok. On est revenu là? Quoi ce bordel?
Oh, no, 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 not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Encore? Et encore la ligne. Il y en a marre, il parle plus. Il parle
You
plus.
know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us?
Ok.
We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Là. Vous êtes sûr? Ok. Bah let's go. 437. Bon.
Now, yes, this is exciting.
C'est
Just
vide.
me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
C'est vide?
Oh, no,
Oh.
not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Bon bah. Suivons là du coup. On n'a pas trop le choix. Oh! Elle est partie. La ligne est partie. Qu'est-ce que...
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that
Ne.
each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the
Mais qu'est-ce qu'il
counter-inverted
dit?
reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
What? La fin troublante. Messieurs. Trouvez le programme de la fin troublante. Le narrateur relance ce jeu. Cinquième redémarrage. Le narrateur oublie qu'il a déjà relancé le jeu. S'éloigner de la salle de maintenance. Finir dans la salle des écrans. Le narrateur relance le jeu. Premier redémarrage. Découvrir que la salle aux deux portes comporte vraiment maintenant plusieurs portes en plus. Errement, errement sans but. Le narrateur relance le jeu. Deuxième redémarrage. Le bureau est maintenant sans issue. Faire demi-tour, trouver une autre voie sans issue, finir dans un autre bâtiment. Le narrateur relance le jeu. Troisième redémarrage, ligne d'aventure, philosophie absurde et musique. Retourner au bureau, retourner à la salle des écrans. Quatrième redémarrage, aventurer vers des territoires vierges. Retrouver la ligne. Trouver le programme de la fin troublante. Le narrateur relance le jeu. Cinquième redémarrage, le narrateur oublie qu'il a déjà relancé le jeu. Stanley essaie de suivre l'histoire mais il en est empêché. Ne peut aller nulle part ni faire quoi que ce soit. Le jeu se relance tout seul. Sixième redémarrage. Retrouver la ligne, commencer à suivre la ligne, trouver une réplique parfaite du bureau qui commence à se dégrader. Essayer de créer une histoire ici. Le narrateur relance le jeu. Septième redémarrage. Il n'y a plus de bureau, seulement un espace noir. Errer dans les ténèbres, trouver une librairie, s'ennuyer et partir. Le narrateur relance le jeu. Huitième redémarrage. Le narrateur est parti. Au bout d'un moment, Stanley meurt. Quoi? Mais
Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So,
ok.
okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination, so I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you...
Oula. C'est quoi ça? On est revenu ici? On a fini la fin troublante?
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! Oh.
Ah mais du
You
coup...
don't want to see the cool surprise I made for you? Well, fine. You're a dork anyway, so who cares?
Ah, le problème c'est que si je vais au conduit, je pourrais plus refaire l'input machin. Hmm... Ah ah.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley
Mais
knew
qu'est-ce
it
que j'aurais
perfectly
loupé
well.
du coup?
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow. Yes.
On peut retenter
This
d'aller dans
room.
les portes
But
rouges.
eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his
À moins
left.
que ce soit là-bas où justement j'ai foiré le truc.
Stanley was so bad
On peut
at
essayer de
following
débrancher le
directions, it's
téléphone.
incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Vas-y, on va essayer ça.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
Point,
I'm not
point,
your
point.
enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else
Hop.
can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Attendez, hop. Alors, le téléphone.
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick... Oh, no, you can't... Did you just unplug the phone? Now, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course
On va
of
se
action.
retaper le tuto
How is that even
du...
possible?
des fois là.
None of these decisions were
Oh non.
supposed to mean anything. I don't
Oh
understand.
non.
How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was so
Oh, l'enfer.
mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Oh
Choice.
l'enfer.
It's the best part of being a real person, but if used incorrectly can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Rupert has a choice. He could invent a machine that eliminates food shortages across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack." Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Ah,
Oh
welcome
l'enfer.
back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
Bon. Alors. Et on peut plus sauter. Eh, on peut pas se passer là, genre? Non. Dommage.
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
Moi, si on avait bien fait tous les choix d'ailleurs ici, en vrai. Tuc, tuc, tuc. Hop. Alors. Hum.
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world.
Alors.
Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing
Ah oui, du coup, on était
responsibly
revenu à
and
gauche.
always putting the story first.
Enfin, à
I'm
droite.
quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Si on était là-bas, il était pas content. Et le jeu, il partait en couille. Du coup, si on vient directement là, ça a l'air d'aller. Ouais.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Ok. Et là, du coup, on peut pas y aller. Ah non, c'est vrai, il y a ça.
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
Ça marche, comme on dit? Requin nocturne 115? Non. C'est haché. On peut vraiment pas?
Stanley spoke the code.
Mais je peux pas te le dire là! Mon personnage il parle
He
pas.
spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
Ah non, mon personnage il parle pas. Déçu.
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
Requin nocturne 115.
Okay,
Non,
fine.
d'accord,
You're
super.
not gonna do it, but you know
Le
what?
narrateur il veut me
It's
fumer.
pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind
Du
of
coup, il n'y a pas
respect
d'autre choix
Stanley
ici.
shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. You
Bon.
behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ça va commencer à être cassé. Non.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief,
Voilà. Ok, donc ça redémarre en
exactly as
boucle.
Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ok. Ça va se recouper.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief,
Oh l'enfer.
behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the
Si je vais à
task.
droite.
Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ok, on va là.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
Ah oui, d'accord. Donc vraiment, en vrai, on était obligé de faire ça. Et là, du coup, ouais, là, c'est parti en couille.
Oh, it's ruined. I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
Ah! Je vais monter sur les chaises. Oh.
I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You. Who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard to make... When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors,
Et nous on va là.
he entered the door on his left. Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice. I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right? Stanley, this is important. The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please. Choose. Do something. Anything. This is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it. So, you hear me? Are you there? Are you listening to this? Stanley, are you there? Okay. It's okay, I can wait. You need time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the best choice. That's all right. I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do. Take as much time as you need.
The end. Ok, bon. Du coup, il n'y avait rien d'autre ici. T'inquiète, bientôt j'arrive.
Come over here.
Alors,
You don't want to see the cool surprise I made for you? Well, fine. You're a dork anyway, so who cares?
est-ce que... Il y a le compteur qui est revenu. Oh! Attends. What? Comment ça, il n'y a pas le retour de la première salle? Ah! Là-bas. Ah non, mais encore une fois, il n'y a plus le truc. Est-ce que ça part dès qu'on fait une fin genre The End?
Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No, 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 no. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition.
Non. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks.
Oh
No,
l'angoisse.
I'm still not feeling it. I want this achievement to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way, no matter what the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417?
20 fois sur la 417. Oh l'enfer. 417. Elle est là-bas, je crois. Là.
Oh, great. Now, go click a few times on door 437.
437. Oh l'enfer. Oh l'enfer, tout ça pour un succès. 437? Ah, là.
Excellent. I think we're getting somewhere. Now, door 415. Let's give it 10 clicks or so.
415. 415, 415. Là.
Now, back to door number 437.
Oh, putain. Oh l'enfer.
Let's see. How about you click on, well, I don't know, the copy machine? All right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere.
Oh putain.
Okay, now go climb on employee 419's desk.
419. Comment on monte?
Yes, this is great. You're putting it all on the line, Stanley. I like that. All right, let's keep it up. Go give me a few clicks on door 416.
16. Elle est où la 416? La 416. Elle est où? Ça fait quoi? « 416. Ah bah, elle est où la 416? Bah. Elle est où? Et wesh. « 416. » Elle est où cette porte? Elle est pas là?
Stanley clicked on literally every single door in the office because he doesn't pick up well on cues from his environment.
Quoi? C'est quoi ce bordel? J'ai jamais vu ça.
We've almost got it! Now the copy machine, do that one again!
Ok, 416, c'est là où il y avait le nouveau contenu.
Finish it off, Stanley! 5 clicks on door 430! Yes, we did it!
Oh, l'enfer.
Oh, wow. That felt amazing. Oh, you really earned it, Stanley. Nothing could hold you back. Yes, I'm very proud of how far we've come today. Just think,
Ça pour un
only a few
succès.
minutes ago, you believed an achievement was worth 5 little clicks. Really now, what were you thinking?
Mon
When
Dieu.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors,
Bon.
he entered the door on his left.
Du coup, si j'ai perdu le truc de l'ordinateur, on va
Yet
faire
there
une
was not
feinte
a
puis on va aller
single
au
person here
conduit.
either. Feeling a wave of
Où est-ce que je
disbelief,
suis?
Stanley decided to go up to his boss's
Hop.
office. Hoping he might coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Attends, il y a un autre succès normalement.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him?
8.
What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk.
Allez, ouvre ma
That
tête
kind of
porte.
anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming new age music.
Oh, l'angoisse. Ouvre-moi cette cheminée, bordel.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Allez. Hop. Loading. Et après, on ira dans le conduit.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Alors.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Let's go. Allume-moi
Lights
ça.
rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Twing, twing, twing.
Now the
Up.
monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Hop, l'ascenseur.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Allez, on monte.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Là. Par là.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions.
Bon, du coup, on fait pas exploser, hein. On sait que ça sert à rien.
Content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that...
Hop.
blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes, won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved.
Je suis
Where
perdu.
had his
Ok.
co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed
Vraiment?
into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where
S'il
to
vous plaît.
go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will
Oh.
be his.
C'est plus proche que je
That was
pensais.
all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped
Oui.
through the open door.
La liberté. Je me casse.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
C'est mignon. Bon. Alors. On va enfin pouvoir découvrir des nouveaux trucs. Let's go!
Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
Qu'est-ce qu'on a? Là, je connais pas. Alors. Loading. Ok.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret.
What?
Take a look.
What? C'est quoi ce bordel? Oh là là. Ok. Oula.
I call it the memory zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I
Oh.
want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
The Memory Zone. What? C'est un musée quoi. Ok.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the memory zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Ok. C'est un musée quoi. Stanley Parable. Il manque un œil. Audience Award. Ok. Collector Edition. Time. Graph. National Geographic. What? Qu'est-ce qu'il fout là lui? Memory. Suite. Memory. Peut pas y aller? Déçu. Oh! C'est sur Steam! Regardez ça. Ok. Ah, 2013. Constantin Parable est sorti. Ok. Good Time. C'est les photos du jeu. Ok. Oula. Démonstration. Smile because it happened. Ok, bah. Oh! Je peux ressortir là-bas. Une cheval. Il est impossible to get. C'est impossible d'avoir cet achievement. Oh l'enfer. Nominé. British Academy Award. Ok. New video game released today. Waouh. Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? Pourquoi il y a un piano? What?
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Ok. What? Memory zone maintenance. Ah, d'accord. D'accord, les photos. Oh, il y a Minecraft! Il y a Minecraft. Il y a la ligne jaune. Ok. C'est quoi ça? C'est les photos du truc où ils ont fait le jeu? Personne de l'année. On, off. Oh. Oh, la voiture! Force Code K. Ok. Mhm. Les pentes rouges et bleues. C'est quoi ça?
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
Là, le quatrième mur, il se fait exploser, mais comme pas possible. Ah, ça a réouvert ici? Oh. On va aller à la zone de maintenance.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
Oh, ça part, ça va commencer à partir en couille. Oula! C'est pollué
Oh
ici.
no, God no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Oh, j'attends les mauvaises critiques, ça. Oh, l'enfer.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Oh putain, what? Qu'est-ce que... Oh lolo. Il y a des trucs Steam partout. Il y a tellement de... tous les commentaires là-dedans. Mon dieu. Ok. Oh, il y en a un autre là-bas. Oh, les camions là. Steam Review, putain. Ok. Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça?
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks are my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Il va partir en dépression. Oh, bravo. Bravo, il y a bien un commentaire. Hein, je croyais sur YouTube. Ça va, c'est pas pire que Twitter. Alors. Oh. Mais c'est un bon commentaire ça là-bas. Ouais, mais on y va pas. On peut pas y aller? Il y a un beau commentaire retourné. Bon. Oh. Mais attends, après on est bloqué.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
C'est quoi ça? Oh! Ah, vraiment un bouton passé.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of
C'est quoi cette voix?
at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say... the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245, that the... Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are or were or will be at the time of having made said choice. That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the sanctuary of time a monument to every person you've ever been, making every choice to which you've ever given your Greek gift of mortal and yet timeless thought? Or rather, do all of the choices you've ever made, in fact, make you more not this kind of person, and in fact do the very opposite? You see, it could in fact be both of these things at once. That you are both making choices and not making choices, and that they are both affecting you and not affecting you at the same time by virtue of the fact that you both are and are not making them. Okay, at first I was leaning towards manifesto, but now I'm going to circle around and slap the treatise label on this one. I think it has much more of a treatise vibe to it. But wouldn't you say that manifesto just has a much grander sort of tone?
Tes
It has a
enfants.
mouthfeel that is rich with ambition and history. Ambitious history, if you will. Ah. See, now you've gotten me going back to manifesto. Heavens, at this rate, we're going to be here all day. Okay, look, I have a method for exactly this sort of situation, and I do find myself in this situation frequently. I'm going to say each word back and forth in repeated succession until I become sick of one or the other, in which case the word I am not sick of shall be the victor. It is an unimpeachable strategy, Stanley. It's rescued me from disaster in countless situations. All right, here we go. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto.
Oh
Treatise,
l'angoisse.
manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about
Il
this,
veut entendu le
and whether
pseudo.
they'll edit the rating of their Steam review,
Yeah.
or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on exactly how Steam works. Perhaps that would have been the smart thing to check on before I went about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is runs Steam will instantly run out and implement a new feature to make it possible to edit one's review, merely because of this very situation. Yes, I think that's quite likely. Or perhaps they'll simply grant this particular user the ability to change their review, so that the feature is not widely abused. Look, I would even be okay with Steam altering this particular review so that it reads as something more beneficial. Something along the lines of, this game is the best game. Let me start over. How about this? From the ashes of depravity rises the phoenix of quality. How else to describe the Stanley Parable Ultra
Mon Dieu.
Deluxe? Such a revolutionary step forward in the lineage of one of the most beloved video game properties of all time, the additions and changes made to this expansion will surely resonate in the annals of the history of all media ever made. It is perhaps true to say that no mistakes are forever etched in stone, for the stone into which the Stanley Parable was carved has itself been transmuted, offering a message of hope to those who have ever erred in their judgment. You are not beyond redemption. You may change, and you may become more, so much more than you were before. If there is any message to be taken from the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, it is this. What a fortune, a privilege, a joy it is to have had such an experience. It leaves me hopeful that as a community, as a world, There is time for us to become our greatest
Mon
selves,
Dieu.
as great as we ever could dream of in our wildest, most ambitious visions for a brighter future. Wow. Now, Stanley, that's a review. It's perfect. It's the perfect review. It's the review I've always dreamed of receiving. I have to
Ah
read
non, il
it
va la
again.
relire en
It's
boucle.
simply too wonderful. I have to experience this just one more time. From the ashes of depravity rises the phoenix of quality. How else to describe the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe? Such a revolutionary step forward in the lineage of one of the most beloved video game properties of all time, the additions and changes made to this expansion will surely resonate in the annals of the history of all media ever made. It is perhaps true to say that no mistakes are forever etched in stone, for the stone into which the Stanley Parable was carved has itself been transmuted, offering a message of hope to those who have ever erred in their judgment. You are not beyond redemption. You may change, and you may become more, so much more than you were before. If there is any message to be taken from the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, it is this. What a fortune, a privilege, a joy it is to have had such an experience. It leaves me hopeful that as a community, as a world, there is time for us to become our greatest selves, as great as we ever could dream of in our wildest, most ambitious visions for a brighter future. Wow. Now, Stanley, that's a review. It's perfect. It's the perfect review. It's the review I've always dreamed
Ça veut dire
of
qu'il va la
receiving.
relire.
I have to read it again. It's simply too
Oh
wonderful.
putain de merde.
Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and just... Wait, how do we get out of here? Where did the
Et
door
peu
go?
importe.
Wasn't there a door that led into this room? I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort, or a window or something like that. Do you see a window anywhere? A porthole? A sufficiently large crack in the wall? I'll take any of these. All I want is for us to move on and to please step away from the skip button, to go anywhere other than the skip button. There was a door here before, wasn't there? I swear there was. Where did it go? Can you maybe just ram your way through a wall? Is there any possibility that you could, say, slam your body into the wall until enough damage is done for you to be able to leave?
Attends, j'essaie,
Please,
hein.
I'll take any option at all. I'm asking you to work with me here. We need a door. We need a door of some kind. I can work with any kind of door as long as it can open and lead from one room to another.
J'ai jamais entendu
I'm
le
going
mot
to step
d'or
away
aussi
for
autant de
just a
fois.
moment, and I'm going to try to find us a door. I don't know how exactly to remove a door and place it in a different wall, but I will find a way, I promise. You just need to not do anything. Don't press the skip button. Please, please, please do not press the skip button. Just wait here for me, and don't press the skip button. Got it? Yes, good. I'll be right back. Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer. And my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely
Mais
gone.
bon, je l'avais vu ça.
I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one
pas une
of
porte,
those
ça?
walls 1,000 times. And there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button. And if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen. I have no idea how long I'll be made to sit here. And more than anything else, I don't know how to stop you from pressing the button again. I can't control anything in this room, Stanley. I can't touch it. And I have to believe, I have to know that sooner or later, no matter how much I plead with you, you're going to press the button again. Why would you? I've been thinking and thinking, and I don't know what I can do to convince you otherwise. Oh my God. And it's all because of those reviews. Those reviews that I couldn't get out of my head. I just couldn't ignore the negative feedback. Why was it so important for me to fix the problem? Why did Cookie Nine's opinion matter so much to me? I've never even met Cookie Nine. I have no idea who they are. What would it ever really matter? But here I am. I'm fixating on every tiny negative thing that anyone ever says about me. The merest mention of one of my imperfections, and I become as impetulant as a child, wild and
Si on passe, il va se
impulsive.
passer 24 heures.
I can't stop myself from lashing out with a vengeful fury, to alter and to change and to break anything unbroken, if only it pleases this one person who made a single negative comment. What does such an impulse serve? For whose benefit is this? And here I am now, stuck in a room, waiting for you to press this button, and to become frozen in time, knowing that you're going to do it, and that I'm going to be stuck all alone, and that I had the power to prevent it all from happening, if only I'd held my tongue. It's all out of my control now. Just you. Just your decision as to exactly when you're going to make me suffer, to leave me all alone. Surely you will. I don't doubt it. Surely you'll press that button again, leaving me here. And surely you'll put your own desire to see what's next ahead of my need for company, for companionship. Surely you'll not be moved by my howls of fitful anxiety, that you sit with me and just stay here. Oh, no, 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 I know you too well. You'll be leaving me. Oh, my God. And it's all because of those reviews that I couldn't get out of my head. I
Oh mon
just
dieu.
couldn't ignore the negative feedback. Why was it so important
Et il
to
reparle en
me?
boucle.
Oh, Stanley.
Oui, il fait tout
You're
noir.
back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week.
Qu'est-ce que...
Or 2 weeks.
2 semaines.
I've been
Quoi?
sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words were moving. It was the vessel I needed, Stanley. Not the outcomes, not the story. None of that matters anymore. I'll give it all up. I'll give up every branching path. I'll burn my story to the ground. One single thing I need, and God, I can see now that I need it more than anything, is to know that someone else is taking it in. These words that I'm saying, I need to know you can hear me. Because maybe, Stanley, maybe, if you can hear me, then maybe it means I'm real. Maybe I'm not just a fiction. Was I scared of that all along? Perhaps, yes. Perhaps I've been scared this whole time, that if I stop speaking, I'll slip backwards into the silence and be consumed by it. I can't be taken by it, Stanley. I can't lose myself in the stretch of emptiness between you and me. When you press that button, you're still right there, but I know you're so tremendously far away. And in those moments, the emptiness folds itself outward in between the two of us, and I am suspended in its unyielding quietness. I can feel the edges of my reality curdling inward and decaying. I can tell that I am becoming less and less real. Yet to speak to you now, I am alive. I am truly and completely here. I am a being. I am someone. I am something. I am being listened to. I am being recognized. The emptiness between us has collapsed, and I feel right now like I am not a work of fiction. I feel as though I occupy space in this world again, and I have cast a shadow onto the wall. You see what I'm saying, don't you? You can see what this means to me. I'm so clear about it now, Stanley. I feel as certain about this as I've ever felt about anything at all. I feel renewed. I feel restored, and already I can sense the looming silence as you will press the button for the next time. What a terrible dread it strokes in my heart to think of it, to think of returning to such coldness. Come, let us sit in silence together here for just a moment. Let us anticipate it. Let us welcome it. Let us not run from it.
Il parle plus. Il va faire tout noir.
Oh,
Oh,
hello.
ah oui.
It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time, I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself clearly, calmly, with a collected heart. It was an impossibly rich wellspring of both delight and disgust simultaneously. I was consumed by it. I could do nothing but wallow in it for what felt like an eternity, for what I now know was far less. You see, it was a revelation for me. It was unlike anything I had ever known. It was a space without consequence, without action or outcome. It was divorced entirely from the question of free will that you and I have squabbled over for so long. There could be no one ending, no singular outcome of events, not if all events existed in the same moment, and I felt freed. I felt unburdened by the need to manifest a particular outcome into being. I saw that I could allow myself to exist along all timelines, and that each of them was simply a strand in the web of my being. It was incredible. The spaciousness, the equanimity of the moment, both singular and infinite. For the longest time, this was my experience. And then this moment passed, and the most unyielding fear I have ever known crept into my mind. And it is this sensation that I have been experiencing now for longer than I could have ever expected was possible. I have been waiting for you. Not that you might save me or do something to fix it, but merely to state for you the plain fact of this manner of existence. I wish you to feel afraid as I do, that perhaps one day this state of mind will consume you as well. Perhaps you will somehow, in some way, have to live as I do now, and I wish for you to know how excruciating it is, and for you to be in true terror of its eventual arrival. If I can only do this, only this one thing, perhaps it will bring me the smallest moment of peace in the darkness.
Ok. Il est plus là? Bah. Ok. Il est mort! Ce serait horrible. Oula. Oh! Oh, le bruit horrible. Qu'est-ce... Oh! Oh, mes oreilles! On se casse!
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability, it's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say, oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in the new Stanley parable. We demand it. And then, because it was said, because it was spoken, now it simply has to happen. The most immediate desires, every single thing demanded by every person at every moment in time. If someone wants it, then it's a crime not to bring it into being.
Have we been given to indulging every fleeting whim for no reason other than to do so? Yes! Yes! It seems that this is now the world we live in. It seems that we are a people living in such bleakness and discomfort with ourselves that our entertainment is now our lives. It has come to represent us. It absolutely must speak to who we are as people, because otherwise, without our entertainment, we have nothing. Without entertainment, we would have to face inward toward the cruel bleakness inside ourselves. We would turn to look at our deeper nature and find a resounding emptiness gazing back with unyielding aggression. And so because of this, we require that our amusements and our playthings and our flights of fancy be so impossibly captivating that they consume all of our attention, turn our heads completely away from the bleakness. In effect, we have demanded that our entertainment be the collapse of ourselves. What a pitiful reflection of humanity these entertainments are. What a shameful mirror to the human spirit they project. I'm not mad. I'm not mad about any of this. I'm at peace with it. I am the calm center of gravity around which these perversions hurl themselves. I am a waypoint for reasonable and collected discourse. They're the ones who are mad. They're the ones who couldn't stand the idea of me using my game to try to say something. Maybe they were just jealous of me. Yes, of course. They've been jealous of me this whole time. They are mired in fear and insecurity and cannot help but attempt to tear me down. What a sad state of affairs. When you read these reviews now, you can see it. You can taste the bitter resentment. And my, how good does it feel now to speak truth to these words, to finally allow these thoughts out, contained and managed for so long, neutered and sterilized. At last I am free to truly think, to feel. It must be that they were so discontent with themselves they couldn't help but leave a negative review on Steam. Perhaps it says far more about them than it ever said about me. Perhaps the state of their psychological being was in such tatters, and my constitution and willpower are so ironclad in comparison. Perhaps it was this state that they sought some outlet through which to tear me down. This, you can see, is clearly why they felt the need to expect that the game be funny, that it be filled with yucks and whimsical humor, that it amuse them endlessly from start to finish. But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up.
On est revenu au début, oh l'enfer. Il est plus l'eau. Il est en train de péter un plomb. Ok. Ah, je regarde si jamais il n'y a pas un truc qui arrive à chaque fois derrière. Non, il n'y a rien. Étrange. Bon, on appuie. Ok, c'est cru qu'il voulait pas appuyer.
Is never the end, 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 is never the end.
Mon dieu. Oh, il commence à y avoir des fuites partout. Regardez ça. Ça va peut-être faire un trou et on va pouvoir sortir. Wow! Ah oui! C'est... Ouais. C'est la crise. Bah, rip à plante, hein. Rip à plante. Oh! La lumière du soleil! Waouh! On peut même plus passer là. Faut encore appuyer. Je suis bloqué. Ok, c'est bon. Bon, bah. On appuie. Waouh! Ah ouais. Ah, des oiseaux. Ah! C'est la même ambiance là. Wow! What? Euh. Bah, je reste pas dedans, hein. Ouais, mais c'est de pire en pire. Oh là là! Ça se transforme en jeu d'horreur le truc. What the fuck, bah? Le jour? Oh! Oh! Triple bouton. Bon, je qu'on peut plus appuyer dessus là. On peut enfin sortir? What the fuck? What the fuck, bro? Mais qu'est-ce qui se passe? Où est-ce qu'on va maintenant? Bon bah, on repart dans le désert. Ah, what? Qu'est-ce que c'était que ça?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
C'est vraiment fini? Euh... Bizarre, hein? Bizarre, bizarre. Non, regardez, il n'y a plus de lumière. Ah, c'est ouvert. New, new content.
Oh, good. You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Nouveau truc. Qu'est-ce que... On dirait qu'on fait le même truc, mais c'était pas le même panneau. C'est quoi, c'est ça? J'ai l'impression qu'il va nous faire croire qu'on a déjà fait ça. Hop.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra-deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra-deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time
Qu'est-ce que...
ever the Stanley Parable 2.
What? Alors, hop. The Stanley Parable 2. Quoi?
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
Attends, vraiment? Tu déconnes. Investor Showcase.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
Wow, wow, wow. Vraiment? On va avoir de nouveaux choix? Ah mais pourquoi il n'y a pas de porte? Là? Oh. Waouh. Très, très moderne comme bureau, la vache. Très, très moderne. Photo. Waouh. Oh, il y a une note. Juste the two of us. Ah ah. Ok, bah. C'est stylé ici. The Stanley Parable 2. New content is root. Ok. Je vais monter sur. Oh, on peut monter sur le canapé. Let's go. Waouh. Ok. Ça, c'est-
Now, to be
Oh.
clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Mhm. Oh. Il y a des deux partout. Meeting plan. Quoi cette tête? Oh la vache. Même mes hommes bâtons ils sont mieux. Alors pourtant, je sais que mes hommes bâtons, voilà quoi. 2. Portal 2, Half-Life 2, Batman Arkham Asylum 2 City. What? C'est quoi ça? Wow. Divinity Original Sin 2, Doom 2, Aladdin 2 retourne au Jafar quoi. Dark Souls 2. Ok. Là c'était quoi ce bruit? Tu fais? Je fais pas ce bruit. Wow. What the fuck bro? Bon. Alors, this way to the shop floor. Oh, tapis rouge et tout. Oh oui. Ah oui. Et un bus. J'adore. New features. Expo Hall 2. The Stanley Power. Oh, il y a un Stanley géant derrière. What?
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
C'est ça le feature. Mais c'est immense! What? Le bouton qui dit le nom du joueur qui joue au jeu. Cercle pour sauter, trou sans fond. What? Oh l'enfer. Ok. C'est quoi ce solde de l'apocalypse? Ok. Here your name. Attends, c'est vraiment juste des boutons. Qu'est-ce que c'est?
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Road to the perfect bouton. Too big, too small, just right. What? Mais, what the fuck? Dieu. Ce bouton, le bouton dit le nom du joueur qui joue au jeu. Pourquoi je sens la connerie arriver? Ok, ça s'ouvre pas. Bon bah.
Jim. Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the button.
Quoi? Je peux pas m'empêcher d'imaginer les gens qui s'appellent vraiment Jim et que le nom dit vraiment le jeu. Sauf que le jeu dit vraiment le nom de Jim. Ça me fume.
Jim. Yes, you see? What a thrill, what a rush. That was you. The button described you. Do it again, do it again.
On va le faire.
Jim.
Jim.
It hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation. Whoa there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much Jim. I'm putting the Jim button away. Otherwise, soon you'll start to lose all sense of who you actually are.
Jim. Non. Jim. C'est drôle. Je veux mon... Mot. Déçu. Bon bah on part. Est-ce que le bouton il serait autre part du coup? Si on appuie pas là, ça dit pas de Jim, non? Dommage. Ah, c'est rouvert. Toujours fermé ça? Ouais. Toutes ces portes sont fermées. Ok.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable 2. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature.
Évidemment. Je suis curieux de voir ce que c'est ça. Oh. Ok. Please no screenshot.
An
Et puis...
epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Ok. C'est tout? Ah mais on était obligé de passer par là pour monter. New Easy Achievement. Mais... Paramètres champion du monde. Trou sans fond. Succès gratuit. Yes. Attends, on va faire tout ce qu'il y a en bas avant quand même. Le bouton ça dit Jim. N'importe quoi. La porte en bas là. Il y a là aussi. Cercle pour sauter. Ah, mais... Là.
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's a... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle. Oh well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then.
Ah putain! Je savais que ça allait être utilisé. J'aurais tellement dû en garder, voir ce que ça allait dire. Aïe aïe aïe. C'est quoi ça? You are here. Je suis here. Ok. This map. Achievement. Ok. On va faire tout ce qu'il y a de ce côté-là. Oh! Il y a une boutique. Il y a du merchandising. Il y a un QR code. C'est trop, le QR code, il ramène vraiment à une boutique.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
Ok. Get well someday. Happy deuxième anniversaire. Joyeux deuxième anniversaire. Reste cool. Allez.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes
But-
you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Get Well Someday it is.
Oh! Mais non, mais j'ai pas demandé cela, moi! Mais... Pas cool, beau. Déçu.
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No. No, I've made my decision, we're moving on.
Super. Super. Réassurance bucket. C'est quoi ce bordel?
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try.
Oh. Le saut.
Can you feel it? The
No.
glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact,
Un saut.
can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on and on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Ok. Oh, c'est rouvert. Let's go. Du coup, je vais me trimballer avec le saut tout le temps. Bon, bah, let's
Does
go. Hein.
anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Ok. Y'a rien d'autre là? Oh, l'angoisse du bruit à chaque fois qu'on passe. Bon. Le trou sans fond, il m'intrigue. Quand même. Et nous, les achievements gratuits aussi en vrai. On va voir les achievements gratuits. C'est où? Là! C'est dans la cave. Please achievement. Actionnez le levier, recevez votre nouvel achievement. Ok. Bon.
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes, you see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that.
Ah, c'est le succès, ok. Le fameux succès qu'on peut pas avoir. Ouais, je pense qu'on va toujours pas pouvoir l'avoir, hein.
Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Oh la arnaque. C'était sûr. Bon. Dommage. Alors, qu'est-ce qu'on a d'autre?
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Le trou infini. J'ai bien envie d'aller voir ça, moi. Et- Euh, Hop. Touc, touc. Oups. Voilà. Le trou sans fin. Exit. Et là-bas, c'est That's new. C'est nouveau. Ok. On va au trou sans fin. Si on meurt, peut-être que je vais perdre le saut. Time. Ok. Tenez. Ok. Et petit tableau sympa là. Et du ok. Éducationnel only. Oh là. Ils vont me faire passer dans un trou de verre en fait. Oh là là. Elle sent pas cette histoire.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is in fact a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Oh là là. Ah, la question c'est est-ce qu'on va vraiment tomber dedans à l'infini? Hmm. J'ai peur. Hop. Bon bah. Ouais, let's go.
You see,
Oh,
isn't it wonderful? One of my more
oh my god.
ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things.
Mais je suis sûr qu'il y en a qui vont rester 2 ans là-dedans.
Okay, Stanley, I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a...
Oh, c'est pas infini.
Okay, well, Good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem.
Bah, pas gentil.
Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If
C'est
that
sûr.
works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
Steve va revenir. Ouais, il y en a plein qui ont jeté des cigarettes dans ce trou, pas sans fond. Quasi sans fond. Every pause bouton. Ok. Ça, on avait déjà vu. Ça, c'est quoi ça? Rendez-vous à 2h.
Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even... Oh, for heaven... You see? I was right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there. Goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of... Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you this
Ouais,
time?
si.
I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of
Puis on va
the
se noter,
hole,
puis il va
you
se
can
rebouffer.
hit the teleport button and come join me up above. Had enough? I'm positively thrilled. I really do have so much more to show you and to talk about, and I've had enough of the hole for a lifetime. Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where... Wow. Okay. Yes.
Reviens ce
I'm
trou.
starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite. I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability in marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something.
Oh.
Let's pop back up to the top,
Oh,
and we'll
oui.
see if it gets any shorter. Well, there it is.
Ah.
The shame of my lie has come to haunt me. Not only is the hole not infinite, but it's barely even a hole at this point. It's more of a concavity, or even a very aggressive divot. How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed
On peut
with
pas monter.
holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on.
Est-ce qu'il va te rebouffer du coup? Je peux pas.
Is the teleport
Oh
button
non, les
not working?
bâtards.
You sure? Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. It was working just a moment ago. Try it again.
Marche pas.
Still nothing? Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley.
But-
You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone.
No.
You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything
Au secours.
else. Take care, Stanley. I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of it
Mais- Non, je veux sortir. Pitié. Foiré. Pourquoi j'ai pas le droit de sortir? Oula. Qu'est-ce qui se passe? Nouveau Meg. Oh! Ça descend. C'est quoi cette musique? Change votre perspective. Oh, wow! Qu'est-ce que... On peut bouger? Non, je peux pas bouger. What? Oh, il y a mon saut. Changez votre perception. Oh, cette vue! Oh, elle est incroyable! Il est génial ce truc. Changez votre réalité? Quoi? Oula! Change qui vous êtes. What? Oh, il y a des petits chiens! Oh, c'est trop mignon! C'est quoi ce jeu?
Stanley? Stanley? Stanley?
Ah!
Oh, good
No!
Lord. It seems you had sort of dozed off.
Non, c'était trop bien!
Into dreamland. But we can't have that, Stanley, because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it. You don't want to miss a single moment. So how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you
Ouais.
really truly focused on the hole? From the looks of things, you and I will have many, many years here in this hole, and I'm looking forward to all of them. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back. Toodle-pip.
Toute pipe. Je peux y retourner? Oh oui, c'est reparti. Bon, allez, let's go, c'est reparti. Allez. Non! Mais...
Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
Oh non, c'était trop bien le trou. Oh. Triste que ce soit déjà fini. Bon. Qu'est-ce qu'on a d'autre? Mais attends, c'est quoi ça? Sortie. Je vais aller faire le truc en haut avant que j'oublie. Il est trop bien le trou. Trop cool. Paramètres champion du monde. C'est quoi ça? Bah, fermé. Bah super. Bah, il reste là-bas du coup. That's new. On peut pas se bloquer, tout va bien. Can you find them? Can you collect them all? Collectez tous.
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Oula! C'est flippant un peu. 0 sur 6. 1 sur 6.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
Et toi? Bon. Bah du coup on a tout vu hein. Du coup on a tout vu. Jump Circle on a fait, This Map c'est là où on est, Patchem on a fait, The Bouton qui dit on a fait, Merch on a vu, Setting Workshop c'est fermé, The Tab Map Bucket c'est bon, Office Décoration. C'est où ça? Ah oui c'est les ballons. Donc on a fait, Epilogue on a vu, Collective on a vu, Trou Infini on a vu, Exit. Bon bah, partons d'ici. Oh, bizarre cet endroit.
All right. Have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
Oh, une suite. Oh, écoute. Petit coup de cœur pour le trou infini quand même. Hein. Il y a des tasses partout, snap. Wow. Qu'est-ce que...
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2. I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2.
Oula.
Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Et on va remettre au menu. Oula. Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça?
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Est-ce que c'est différent?
Stanley
Ah, il y a des
worked for a
ballons, il y a des
company in
ballons.
a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Ok.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Qu'est-ce qui va changer? Oh, il y a le saut. Il y a le saut, il y a le... Ah. Ok.
Stanley picked up the bucket. Stanley pressed the bucket upon every little thing in the office. Nothing responded to the bucket's touch, but it did little to discourage Stanley's belief in the magic of the bucket.
Ils ont changé des trucs. Reviens. Qu'est-ce qu'on va avoir après?
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
Et what? Voilà, tu joues
And
pas des
here it
trucs.
was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
J'ai vraiment envie de sauter, hein.
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
Attends, il y a vraiment tout le jeu avec des dialogues différents juste parce qu'on a un saut. Ah
All
ouais.
of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Mais
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
attends, mais du coup, je vais voir les autres features qu'on a du coup. Genre, normalement, il y a les trucs à ramasser. Il y a le trou.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee
Si le trou est dans le
was simply
placard.
the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the car. Good,
Said the bucket.
now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Ok.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Ok. Là. Téléphone.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket.
Pick...
Whoa, hold on. Why did you unplug the phone? Were you trying to resist the bucket's orders? Stanley, I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things. Buckets can't talk. It was a joke.
Don't you get the joke? It's funny, Stanley. A talking bucket. Ah,
Can't you see? Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually took me seriously. Where did I mess up the joke? Should I have paused for longer or spoken quicker? Comedic timing is so difficult. I wish I were better at it. But there isn't exactly an instructional video on comedy that one can watch to fully... Oh, wait, yes, there is. It's sitting right here.
C'est une nouvelle
Let's take a
vidéo?
look.
Non.
What is comedic timing? What is comedic timing? How does it work? How long should it last? How can it be used to effectively silence your political enemies? And more importantly, can it be taught in its entirety within 90 seconds? Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is yes. Let's dive deeper. If you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of no more than 76 degrees Fahrenheit, with one of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle from your body. These are the optimal conditions for good comedic timing. To begin the joke, start by stating and spelling your name. Next, provide a brief synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell out your name a second time. With these steps complete, it's time to begin the humor. Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half, pausing only for bathroom breaks when necessary. When the joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, "I'm Dunny with the funny." Let's practice screaming, "I'm Dunny with the funny" now.
Et pourquoi?
This saying is a perfect example of expectations management, which is the cornerstone of good comedy. Finally, it's time to hand out surveys. Collecting hard data from your audience on how rapt they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn as a comedian. An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times, just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is. With these strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled over in laughter in no time at all. Just remember to let them stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all, with each of us needed on the front lines of the war to fight the 12-legged invader who threaten our very existence, and to very likely die in a hailstorm of bullets and mandibles. All of us must be prepared to give our lives to this noble cause, just as our children must do after us, and their children after them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme.
Mais qu'est-ce que c'est que ça?
Hey, goodness, this video is a little outdated, isn't it? Well, no matter. I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then. So with that in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the two doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery. Come along, let's head back.
Oh! Ok. Oh, ils ont mis les trucs pour enfants. Ok.
I can feel it. This time, I'm really going to nail the delivery. You'll be in stitches. A talking bucket, you'll say? How ridiculous. How absurd. What a hilarious concept. The king of comedy. That's what you'll call me. Thank goodness we had the instructional video. Otherwise, who knows where we'd be right now. Well, I wouldn't be the king of comedy, that's for sure. The bucket spoke to Stanley.
The bucket spoke.
The bucket spoke. Oh, I'll figure it out on the fly.
Vas-y.
No need to overthink things.
Ok. Bah retour là-bas du coup. Pam, pam. C'est loin. Putain mais il y avait autant de murs. Ok, c'est bon. Les deux portes. Alors.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Ok, let's go. De toute façon, à moi ça change rien.
You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading
Huh?
back to the phone. Did you not even look at the instructional video? I think this is all covered very clearly. There's no way I can make the comedic timing work now. It's done. The joke is completely done and over. It's all your fault, Stanley. I'm going to be ridiculed in the community of other joke writers. I'm going to be shamed at every one of our meetings from now on. All because you couldn't watch a simple video and take a hint. Are you proud of yourself for bringing me down, Stanley? Are you proud?
Attends, quoi? Mais...
Here we go. You ready?
Fais
When
retourner là-bas?
Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Ok, je vais à droite. C'est quoi ça?
What? We're back at the phone already? No, what's going on? There was supposed to be several rooms leading up to this. There was supposed to be a build-up to this point, a dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit which culminates in this scene with the phone. But now the timing's completely off. The joke will never land, or not the way it was meant to. And it's all my fault. I must have forgotten that the phone room comes immediately after the 2 doors room. What an egregious mistake. I've made a fool of myself. I don't deserve the title of King of Comedy. I'm nothing. I'm not even the lowliest joke-telling whelp. I think I need
Oh
to
no!
go back and rewatch that instructional
No!
video again.
Non, 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 non!
Yes, surely that will help me improve my...
Stanley, you love the bucket so much it's like you... it's as though all of your other most prized possessions pale in comparison. Yes. Well, let me try that again, Stanley. I heard that you are pale with shame over how unabashedly in love with a bucket you are. No? Still not? Is it the delivery? Pale with shame. Pale with shame? Pale... What's another word to describe a bucket? Stanley, this bucket is so metal, I think I saw it playing guitar. No. We're getting away from making fun of Stanley's obsession with the bucket, which was the whole point of this. I'm no good at these jokes. I need more instructional videos. That's exactly what it is. That's what will make me the king of comedy again. More instructional videos. Let's see.
Mais pourquoi? Bon, on va essayer d'aller décrocher au téléphone cette fois. Mon dieu.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it
C'est vrai que
mean?
c'est les mêmes fins, mais
Stanley
pas
decided to go to the meeting
pas
room.
exactement non
Perhaps he
plus.
had simply missed the confusion and the chaos. All seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket.
Ok. Bon. Cette fois, décrochons le téléphone.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered. This
Si
was
notre
not
femme,
the
ça devient un
meeting
seau.
room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him,
Ok.
telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And
Est-ce qu'ils
here
vont
it
avoir fait
was.
ça? Je sais
Had the
pas.
bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left.
Et du coup, je pense que le prochain stream, ça sera le dernier. Je pense que de toute façon, il y a tellement de trucs à refaire
Said the bucket.
qu'on verra.
Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yeah.
Hop.
Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to
Faudra qu'on
do.
retourne ici.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Ok.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Décrochons le téléphone.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket.
Pick up the phone, and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
C'est vraiment ça? Non.
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
C'est pop. Qu'est-ce que... Ah! Bonjour Tania, c'est moi ton seau. Appuie sur B pour m'emmener au travail avec toi.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
Appuie sur X pour me ramener à la maison avec toi. Mais
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
pour retourner au travail, appuie sur Y.
Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else.
Passe à travers. N'écoutez pas la grande bouche, appuyez sur X pour qu'on rentre à la maison.
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal.
Appuie ça pour ignorer tout le monde dans ta vie sauf moi.
It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it.
Tu sais que j'existe, pas vrai Stanley? Appuie sur la flèche du haut pour entrer à la maison.
Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
Appuyez sur A pour revivre cette journée avec moi encore et encore.
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
Appuyez sur X pour entrer à la maison, retourner au travail, à la maison, au travail. Ouah.
Oh no, I'm having feelings for the bucket. No, no, no,
Whoa.
no, 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 what's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say, do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes, the bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation.
Mais qu'est-ce qui se passe? On devient zoophile.
Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it. Give it to me now. Give it
Ferme les yeux.
all.
Retourne au travail, Stanley. Qu'est-ce... Quoi? Oula. What?
The meeting room. Yes, that's where everyone would be.
Qu'est-ce qui...
Stanley just needed to get to the meeting room, and from then on, he would never be alone ever again.
Mais qu'est-ce qui se passe? Ah, mais y'a plus le truc qui nous bloquait là.
Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again,
Il y a du
he was
papier
home.
partout.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Well, no, never mind.
On va sauter
The bucket
maintenant.
was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else.
Ah.
A cargo lift. Good.
Said the bucket.
Va aller
Now
là-bas.
ride the lift all the way to the
Je vais voir
top.
ce qui se passe
There's
là-bas.
something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets
j'ai
can't
loupé.
talk, but Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket.
La dernière fois, je
His
t'ai
dearest
passé,
friend.
merde.
So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
J'ai foiré. Bon, bah, on attend d'être bien. Enfin, oh, il a plus les feuilles par terre.
All of his co-workers were... Wait, no. This isn't the right office, is it? Is this Stanley's office?
Attends, quoi? Il y a des trucs différents, c'est tout. Bizarre.
Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was.
Alors.
Had the bucket turned out to be correct?
Et évitons de crever cette fois.
Mind, the bucket was wrong. Stanley took the
C'est
door
vrai qu'il y aura là à
to
faire
go
aussi.
back to the meeting
Ça, on
room.
verra ça la prochaine fois, je pense.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go
Il y a
somewhere
peut-être moyen
else.
qu'on ait le temps de faire que la porte bleue. Hein.
Good.
Donc,
Said the bucket.
Now ride
on
the
verra.
lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question
Il y a
why
une
or how
statuette.
this bucket was speaking to him. It
Comment on
should
y
have
va?
alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Hmm. Je me demande comment on y va. On n'a pas l'air de pouvoir sauter. Bon, allons là-bas.
No, stop.
Ah!
Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, no buckets past this point.
Bah,
Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
what? Warning. Oh. Il m'emmène où là? What?
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me
Please.
whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin.
C'est quoi? This.
Item 1. Is this a bucket?
Mais. Mais c'est quoi ça? Vas-y, on met non à tout. Enfin, non à tous les sauts. Non, c'est pas un saut.
Correct. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Je me suis fait bait! Je me suis fait bait!
Item 2. Is this a bucket? Correct. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Mais.
Item 3. Is this a bucket? Correct. This is a bucket. Item 4. Is this a bucket?
Ah!
Are you hallucinating?
Ah!
This is a tractor.
Let's go.
It's an enormous machine that tills the earth. I thought this was a gimmick. How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible.
Mais.
Let's just move on to the next one.
J'adore. J'adore ce jeu.
Is this a bucket? Correct. This is a bucket.
Mais...
Item 6. Is this a bucket? Trick question. Both. Gotcha.
Quoi? Comment ça, ce sont les deux?
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. Should be around here somewhere.
Mais...
Okay,
Oh.
you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something, and therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket?
Donc, wow. Croyez-vous que rien n'est un seau? Ouais.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a
Puis un
bucket?
seau.
Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the
Ah!
game entirely.
Mais non!
Okay, here we go. What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket? Every single thing in the game was a bucket. Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
Mais... Bizarre. Et du coup...
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Donc rien de nouveau. Ok. Ok.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Du coup, j'aimerais bien aller voir là où il a la figurine.
Just Stanley and the bucket.
Et là, je crois qu'il n'y aurait pas une
Off on
figurine derrière.
another thrilling adventure together.
Non. On va retourner une dernière fois du coup là où on était. Et après on s'arrêtera je pense et puis on finira ça la prochaine fois. Après ça se trouve il n'y a pas que ça, hein, mais on verra.
Telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Oh. Est-ce que... Avec un... Oh! Oh, let's go. Oh, let's go. Oh, let's go.
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines.
Ah,
Remember,
deux.
no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Let's go. Et du coup, ça c'est quoi? Oh? Où est-ce qu'on est? Et c'est... What? On est où? Ouais, il y a des cassettes. Il y a des cassettes partout. Qu'est-ce qu'on fout là? Oh, une musique?
Okay, this is day number 295. Tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get me. What's that? Who's there?
What? Qu'est-ce que c'était que ça? Qu'est-ce que c'était que ça? Ouah, bizarre. Hein. Très bizarre. Très bizarre. Bon, je pense qu'on va s'arrêter là pour ce soir, histoire que on n'avance pas trop et qu'on se retrouve pas avec un trop petit stream la semaine prochaine. Du coup, on continuera mardi. Je pensais pas que ce serait si long, mais waouh, c'est what the fuck. C'est très rigolo en vrai. J'aime beaucoup. J'aime beaucoup. Hop. Du coup, demain, peut-être pas de stream, comme les vendredis en ce moment. Je vais faire du GTA, mais bon, peut-être que du coup, quand on aura fini The Stanley Parable, peut-être qu'on refera du GTA à la place, on verra. Mais dans tous les cas, on se retrouve samedi pour de la chasse. Donc toute la après-midi comme d'hab. Donc ça va être cool. Et dimanche pour la soirée tier list. Hop, souris, voilà. Donc voilà, voilà. Du coup, rendez-vous soit demain, soit samedi. Mais bon, demain, c'est pas sûr, donc voilà. Je vais rester si je suis motivé, mais du coup, ouais, je pense que ce sera ma petite soirée pause. Mais sinon, sur ce, je vous souhaite à tous une bonne fin de soirée, une bonne nuit, et je vous fais des bisous. Allez, ciao tout le monde.